Thank you so much for tuning in to The Awakening with Katina Love and segment on Inspiration Sunday. I am Katina Love, your host and producer of this talk show. The Awakening with Katina Love is a go-to source for self-help, healing, and spiritual growth. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Our special guest today is Jenny Perry, transformation coach, self-love goddess, and Mojo Maven. Thank you for being a guest today, Jenny. How's it going?
Thank you, sweetie. Oh, it's good. I think we're having the rain in New Jersey to wash away last year. It's this first day back at school for the kids, so I kind of woke up a little bit like, wait, what am I doing? Because we were on break for so long. And I was like, yes, I'm ready to get in the groove of things.
That's amazing. It's raining here too in Michigan.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, and those are the days that you have to like really be deliberate, about your mindset to wake up. Because when it's sunny, I'm like, I'm walking on air. So when it's rainy, I have to like shift my mindset instantly.
Right. It's funny because here in Michigan, we had like 3 days in a row where it's like super sunny, and I was like, oh my God, it's spring again.
I know.
I was so happy. I even got a tan. I sat in the window and got a tan. It was that bright.
I really do believe sunshine is medicine. I really feel like if the summer to come out, I would all of a sudden like change my plans for the day. But the good thing is when it's rainy, it does make you kind of like have to do work because you're like, forget it. It's not nice out.
Right. Absolutely. So, yes, I am honored to be on this show with you today and talk with you about what you have going on and how you inspire others. So I'd like to start out by asking you, what started you on your path to become a transformation coach?
Well, my own experience has been so wild in my own personal development, starting out with, having an eating disorder as a teen really made me have to be mindful of the way I thought about myself. And that kind of like the seeds were planted for me to also want to help others then. Because when I was hospitalized for it, I was literally trying to life coach the other patients. Like, no lie. It was ridiculous.
I get it.
Yeah. And so then once I was in my 30s, and actually it was when I had, a series of things like I had lost weight, and then I was not happy, and I got the thing that you think you want, like the guy, the job, the losing weight. Yeah. And then I was really unhappy because inside I didn't feel good about myself. So once I started on that journey, a lot of law of attraction, a lot of spiritual studies, and then it was like I started sharing my writing, and people started coming to me and asking me, do you coach?
Oh, wow, that's amazing. That's awesome. That's awesome. So what fulfills you the most out of the work that you do when you work with people? What fulfills you?
Mm-hmm. Well, I just love being in that zone where I had a call last night with one of the ladies in my new mastermind, and it was just like boom, 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 boom. And she said, she posted in our Facebook group later on that she was still processing it because I kind of like, I'm not even really being conscious of like what I'm saying because I'm just like in the zone, and I love being in that coaching zone. I'm actually better in my coaching zone than I am in my parenting sometimes because my clients want to listen to me versus my kids. They don't want to listen. I love
That's amazing.
I love that, feeling of giving someone the clarity that they've been seeking and, supporting them. It really does fulfill me to be that involved. And when you do programs, certain ones you're more immersed. And so I love doing your coaching program. But one-on-one, I love it so much because I can get my hands in. So the minute somebody starts talking to me about stuff, I'm like a kid in a candy store. I'm like, okay, boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
Right. That is awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I was wondering, when we met before, you were telling me you had 5 kids. I'm like, well, how do you do it all? How do you do the coaching, your business? I know, and I
told you, people say that to me all the time, and I'm like, I don't know that I do it all. Like if you saw the laundry pile, that's like laundry is just one of those things. It's like it's just always going to be there. Until I can have a housekeeper, a live-in housekeeper, that would be great. I will be like hugging her for folding my laundry. But I think that you have to just choose, I'm getting really strict with my schedule this year in 2017 about what days are for what activities, because a lot of times I would try to do everything every day, and that's a lot. And one thing that was happening is I have my own podcast, and I had a couple of this is a couple months ago. I had, 1 week where there was pardon me, 5 different cancellations that week that were random, like people were sick or their mom got sick or whatever. But I took that as where am I not respecting my own time? That they're reflecting that back to me.
I get
and so
that.
it's you have to be mindful about what really in 2016 did you give airtime in your life that really didn't need it? That's a big one, because it's, everybody's all about losing weight or doing this or doing that, but there's a lot of focus on the wrong things that we do, and we just honestly are certain things that important that you're making important, and it might even be people. It literally might even be people.
Right.
So this is that kind of inventory week to me on how am I doing in all my areas, and as a mom, am I being as present as I want to be? That's always a challenge, I think, in this day and age with online entrepreneurs especially, is you're always plugged in. And so being present is a challenge for us. It's okay, disconnect, unplug, and get, plug into the present.
Right, absolutely. So can you share with us what's 5 things that can help us to get back on track and just kind of hit that reset button for 2017?
Well, I would say that, honestly, the inventory, take this week to process, and I'm not saying, about even yes, you might want to make more, in 2017 than you did in 2016. A lot of people had a very rough year last year for all different reasons, losses, different things. But take a look at kind of what worked and what didn't work from more of a detached, viewpoint, not such an emotional viewpoint, and to say what would I like to add to my schedule? What really doesn't need to be there? Kind of look at your life as a map in the different areas. How's the relationship area going? How's the home life going? All the different areas, and take stock. And then you can look at it as, I am not a math person. But with my kids, I constantly have to do it. And, if you look at it as people want to make grand, big changes that overwhelm them, like losing weight. A couple of the women in my mastermind are doing that. But if you were to just simply take a look at in your life, what is one thing that you could add and what is one thing that you could subtract? And it doesn't have to be a big thing, but just something. And it could be it could simply be in the morning, don't check social media. Don't put on the TV first thing in the morning, journal, or just let yourself get present and try to go into gratitude. Just changing those little things, just little small things, make a big impact, because everybody wants to make the big changes, and you can get there, but make little steps. And the third one I would say is that be really mindful of your conversations, because I was telling you that I saw a meme, and it was something to the effect of, all of your cells are listening. And that's so true, because you can just, forget. Maybe you ate crap over the holidays, and you're I'm up with you. Yeah, exactly. I know. I was in a bikini in the newspaper for doing the polar bear plunge, and I was make sure I strategically leaned a certain way. Thank God. But that's the thing is, be mindful, that shatter. I noticed myself this morning. I was okay, calm down, girl. Because even as coaches, that's one of the things that a lot of coaches will feel like a fraud if they are still working on things. And it's girl, if someone tries to tell you they figured everything out and they're not working on anything, run. Because even if you teach something, you could simultaneously be learning it, because know when you're teaching something, it's a totally different energy than when you're the one that's the student. So be mindful, and be mindful of the conversations that you're having with people around you, because 2 conversations I cannot stand are when people are constantly oh, that's too expensive. Because I'm if you're an entrepreneur, you're okay, what can I create that could bring an income to get that thing? Or the negative body talk, because it's okay, so if your butt's a little bigger than you want it to be, then maybe could you do a challenge where you do 100 squats today? Do that, so that we do something that makes you feel better instead of just that mind chatter. And so that's the third thing I would say is to be really mindful of the words, because the words hold so much power.
Yes, they do.
And then I would say that for this year, what if you actually made it a challenge that I'm reading a book right now called something about codependency by Melody. So, I can't remember. I don't have it right in front of me, but if they were to look up codependency and Melody, I know that they would be able to find it. But I'm in this book club where I'm reading that book, and so if they were to choose like an inspirational book for each month, because it's a lot to read sometimes for me, because it's scheduling that time in, and that I would suggest that that's an evening activity, because really at night, instead of like watching some stupid show on TV, decide that you're going to read a chapter, right?
Yes.
And if you read,
absolutely.
So 12 books in the year doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but think about it. It's almost like you'd have a theme for each month, and that leads me into the fifth one, is that when you look at this year, just for fun, and you can always change it around, but look at each of the 12 months out of the year and pick a word that would be your theme, and try to just like play around with that word. So say this year, for January would be like, transformation, and just kind of like look at like what you would like to change in your life. What would that look like? Or choose bliss. For February, maybe it's going to be love, and I wouldn't even say about a romantic love. I would say about self-love. Like make that about your self-love. So those are things that I could say instantly would create change.
And I like how you talked about the book, how, it's so important that we read books, that we do something towards our personal development for growth. And Ty Lopez said that, we should always have some type of book in our hand. We should always be learning something, because that's part of our growth, is reading books. And, some of us, like me, I read books, but sometimes it's like I don't have the time to read the book, so what I'll do is I'll play the audio. And some people are not aware that you can go on YouTube. You can actually download audiobooks. So that's an idea. There's an idea.
That's a really smart one. And think about that, like, this is really cool for podcasts. People can listen to our podcast as they're taking a walk. But could you imagine how powerful would it be is if they, got an audiobook and they went for a walk outside? It's like a 2-for-1 special, mindset and body.
Oh, that's, so ideal. So especially for those people that don't have the time, or don't make the time.
and that's the thing, is that I'm going to shatter that illusion with myself this year, is the whole issue of time. Because, as an entrepreneur, there were certain years where I was not as strict with my calendar, but I know what's going on my calendar every day. And when you have clients on your calendar, you have podcast recordings, like your time is very important. And I've learned to say no, because my time is more precious to me than anything. Because money is something that comes and goes, but time is not. The time I have today, I can't get back. So if I waste it, it's gone. So be mindful. And as an online entrepreneur, is that make sure, like I had a call last night, but normally I'm very strict about, she really needed it. But be strict with your boundaries and be strict with your time, because other people are going to really take a cue from you. So if you're like, whenever, that means that you don't really respect your time. No, give people some available times that you are available to them. Because I did that before, where you try to go with the flow, but then what will happen is that because you have loose boundaries, you will be angry at the other people for not respecting your boundaries, because, honey, they ain't there. That's a big thing that comes up with a lot of women that I work with, is boundaries. Because boundaries can seem bitchy, and they're not. They're not.
It's honoring you. It's honoring you and what's important to you and how you can stay in alignment.
Exactly.
So that's really big right there. Having boundaries. That's really good.
Yeah, it's something that we're not taught. We're, as women, we're not taught. Men are taught them. Men are taught to be strong and be firm and stand for things, and women are taught to accommodate and to nurture. And I know for myself, I can be a mama bear, and I have to be very conscious of, with clients, sometimes I would, just give them all of myself. And this is not something that's not common with other coaches, because you have to be really strict about the way you're available. Or else, could you imagine if you're getting slammed via text, via email, via messenger? Like, that's a lot. It's a lot to manage.
It is. And about that, too, when you get a message, like if you're on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, if you get a message, it doesn't mean you have to check it right away. If you hear that chime, like, oh, you got a message, doesn't mean that you have to attend to it, like, right then and there. Maybe you can glance at it, but maybe not respond until you're in the right space for it. Wouldn't you say that, too?
Oh, my goodness, yeah. And actually, like, it's been a wild ride with that in the way that, you know, in the beginning, I was not sure how to be an online personality because I was like, I'm just a, you know, a stay-at-home mom who fell into writing, who fell into coaching. You know, everything was very organic. And so I would answer people's, like, you know, asking me for advice in messages. And then I would get, like, I had one girl who I had gone to elementary school with her and stuff. And she was having some eating disorder issues and whatnot. And she got angry with me because I wouldn't message back and forth with her. But I'm like, this is just nuts. Like, this is not, I'm not your therapist. It was very crazy. It was one of those boundary setting things. But because I was not used to setting boundaries, I felt so uncomfortable. Like, I felt like such a mean person. And I was like, what is she going to think of me? And, of course, she didn't like me at that moment. But that's okay because you have to say, listen, I literally vividly remember I was at the grocery store parking lot. And I'm like, this is nuts. Because you cannot let yourself be drained by other people. And you're not really everybody's therapist. Like, that's not your job.
Right, absolutely.
Then after that, I remember getting a message where somebody was, you know, was messaging me for advice. I didn't answer. And it felt so uncomfortable at first because I was like, oh, what is she going to think of me? And it's like, it's not that I'm trying to be mean. It's just that I intuitively know whether I'm going to respond to something. And you know what? You can say, if you'd like some coaching, I'm willing to talk to you about hiring me as your coach.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I wanted to ask you this. What's your take on me time? Do you think we should set aside time for ourselves every single day?
Well, that's a really good question. And my throat chakra obviously wants to talk right now. But, geez Louise. But what I would say about that is I don't think that it's practical to think of it the way a lot of people do in, like, this big grand me time. Like, I ain't taking a bath every night. I can't take a bath every night. It just doesn't work into my schedule.
Right.
But for me, it may be where I, you know, like today, I don't know that I'll necessarily carve in me time, except I wanted to read my book in the evening. So that would be my me time. But sometimes it's literally driving to Starbucks to get a coffee in the car by myself. With the radio on. That to me, it's almost like if you thought of it in 10-minute bursts, like 10-minute dance breaks, 10-minute, you know, journal breaks. Like, that's the me time that I can definitely say that I can agree to. But big things I can't necessarily agree to. And I don't think that me time is exercise. So that for some people, they'll say that's their me time. And I understand what they mean, but for me, that falls into a different category. That falls into the body category.
Okay, I get that. That's great. That's awesome. So what services do you offer, and are you taking clients right now?
I am. Right now I have a special going that is just for this week where I'm doing energy assessments with people's social media profiles because I'm very eager to deal with entrepreneurs. Even though I'm not a business coach, I deal with the mindset and the energy piece of it. But you know, when you learn so much, then you just want to pass along the information. So I've learned so much about marketing by accident and being as authentic as possible. But what I get is a read off of somebody, you know, off of their social media profile. So that's an energy assessment for social media. That's $97. And then I also have a special right now that I wanted to also, I know you had wanted me to say my testimonials too. I want to pop that up, and then I'll go into the offer.
Sure.
I have to pull up my offer because I can't remember which one this is for this week. Because I love getting new people like on that energy of the new year where they're they're raring to go. And actually for some people, they may think that, you know, to sell right now is hard because people have spent money on Christmas, but actually it's not because people right now are ripe to change. And if you're an entrepreneur, then you know what your numbers were for last year. Maybe they were good, maybe they weren't. So you might have big goals that you're starting out fresh. That's how I look at it.
Right,
but I'm going to give my testimonial, and then here, I'm trying to find, okay, let me see. Sorry, I should have had that right in front of me.
It's all right. It's all good.
Okay, I have it. Okay. So I have 4 45-minute one-on-one mindset mastery sessions with me for $2,000, and that's just for right now. I'm not sure if I'll run it past this week because I'm being generous with my time. And then what I've done is I want everyone to be aware that you can do this. I took the summer off. I took the summer off and did very minimal, very, very minimal. I was committed to certain people, obviously, so I didn't bring on any new people than I'd already had in the summer because I was like, nope, you know what, I am taking this time. And it basically wound up being maybe 2 months that I did not bring in new people because I wanted to enjoy my kids. And so I'm pre-recording podcasts so that I won't be doing podcasts in the summer because, you know what, those 2 months in Jersey are prime, baby. You know, if you're in a cold weather area, you're like, I take advantage of that.
Right.
And that way I don't have to kill myself in the summer and miss out on really important time with my family. So that's why I go hard in the rest of the year. Okay, so I wanted to give you guys a testimonial about my coaching. Okay. And it says, I've worked with many coaches, but Jenny is by far one of the best. She can help you pass obstacles in life faster than any other coach that I've worked with. I saw major life-changing events happen right after our first session together. She's a lifesaver, literally. One of the things that we worked on with her was business because a lot of entrepreneurs come to me because they want to up-level, but they have money stories going on that we have to deal with. Or they have, like, the boundary setting issues. And actually, a lot of people that want to be successful, they say they want to be successful, but there is actually, you're always so funny because we're always secretly protecting ourselves. So if you're overwhelmed right now with, say, even, like, before my business coach, I did not know how to operate a business very well. And so it was very overwhelming to me, all the technical stuff. So if that's overwhelming to you right now and you're saying that you want to up-level, well, think about that. With more clients, with more things to manage, your inner being is trying to keep you safe, and so that's why you're not getting new clients.
I get that.
So there's little tricky things that we do with ourselves where we're actually helping ourselves. And if you have one more minute for me to tell you another testimonial, this person, she's lost 140 pounds since we worked together.
Wow, that's great.
And we didn't work on diet or exercise because we worked on the emotional part, the depression, the anxiety, all of that.
She let it go.
Says, it's like I'm so proud of her. She obviously looks like a different person, but I just love the way that, this is the thing for you guys who want to deal with your weight this year. Weight is energy. You may be holding on to energy from other people. It may be that you're trying to set boundaries with people. Weight is a fascinating topic to me because people don't understand it at all.
That's amazing. We got to do a show on that too.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Well, and also that's a mindset. So some people, they're in their mindset, and then their body shows up to match that. And when they lose weight, they don't know how to, acclimate to that new mindset. So here's this beautiful testimonial that she said. She said, I believe that Jenny G. Perry is one of the most impactful spiritual thought leaders and healers of this generation. I am blessed to have the opportunity to hire her as my life coach. I can tell you that Jenny has the gift to guide you to higher levels of self than you can possibly see at this moment. She has a unique and special talent to connect to your soul, to reintroduce you to yourself, and to guide your spiritual growth. It feels like a rebirth, and the most important part is your life really does change. Roll up your sleeves. You will have to dig deep to work, but you will be understood, loved, and safe with Jenny as your coach. Do this for you. Wishing you much love on your journey. You are about to begin to uncovering your own beautiful self. Isn't that beautiful?
That's awesome. That is very beautiful. That's very beautiful.
And that's when you're like, I'm so honored to be part of people's journey. Like, I just, and to connect with women like you, who you'll come on my podcast, I feel blessed to be surrounded by amazing women.
Yes, me too. I love Facebook because that's how we met. And I've met so many wonderful people on Facebook. Just absolutely amazing people.
And this is pretty cool. I was thinking about this the other day. Is, why would you or I, podcasters, ever have people that would actually be our direct competition on our show?
Right.
And the thing is because we don't believe in a lapseful universe.
No, we don't. It's abundant.
We believe in lifting others up, and that way, because I thought about that myself, like people in other industries might think we're nuts. Because they would be like, well, why would you have somebody on your show that could, that could take potential customers or clients away? And it's like, that's not even a possibility in my mind because like you said about the books, I believe everyone has a book inside of them.
Absolutely.
And you can never hear the same information the same way through a different
Absolutely.
writer.
Yeah, and
And
then too,
we can never hear certain concepts enough.
Absolutely. And then, too, if we're both life coaches, then you can, one person might take to your personality that wouldn't take to mine and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So there's more than enough for everybody because every client is not for every coach. So there's more than enough to go around. So.
Oh, my God. And you know what? You also, I think that anybody that wants to hire a coach, the best thing that you should do is hop on the phone with them or watch, YouTube. But I really think that hopping on the phone with them for 15 minutes, it will give you a real good insight. And coaches,
Absolutely.
I would say you should hop on the phone with somebody for 15 minutes before you commit to coaching them also. Because, and it's one thing if you get a read from them messaging, but when you get on Skype with somebody, that is you find out everything. I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs I've worked with behind the scenes that their persona is completely different on Facebook than what's behind the scenes, which, we all have our own private lives. But I think it's really important for you to make sure that you mesh well energetically with somebody before hiring them or letting yourself be hired by them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's so true. And that's why we have those discovery sessions, before we coach someone, 15-minute sessions or 30-minute sessions before we actually say, yes, we're going to work with them. So, yeah, that's very important. Absolutely.
And to me, one of the red flags, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but if somebody gives you a hard time about your pricing, or if somebody seems like they're being difficult even from the get-go, I only want to hell yes with me. It's one thing if we have to work through objections, but if I'm going to have to explain myself to you, I literally had one client who wanted me to give testimonials and not because they're on my website, but it was almost like a convincing type of energy, and I'm like, bye-bye.
Right.
That's not honoring. Right. That will be a big problem. And really, you know what that is that's resistance on their own end, and they will block a session from happening. And that happened in the beginning of my coaching is I had one session with a woman, and we walked around all the way in a circle energetically, and she did not get the transformation. And I was, as a coach, I will tell you, this is the one time that I got off of a call, and I was like, I shouldn't be doing this because I was so frustrated. Because as coaches, you only want to coach people that are coachable. Because if
Absolutely.
It's a waste of their money, but you feel so bad because you want to be a catalyst for them. Right.
So important to have that match. Absolutely.
Exactly. But I wanted to be honest there because you are going to have certain clients where you love them to death, and then other people where you're like, you know what, we're not going to continue. And I know many people have had to let clients go, and that seems very weird, but sometimes it has to happen. It's all about boundaries again.
It is, and that's just like for this show here that, my podcast here, I don't just interview anybody and allow them in my space and, energy, we exchange energy. It's just a certain type of person.
Exactly, and that's because that's the thing is that I actually will tell you that I had seen somebody post about somebody being out of integrity, and I was like, oh, I hope I don't have that person out of integrity on my podcast. But I have to just trust that I'm being guided to have the right people on. And I thought about Oprah. When Oprah has people on, she doesn't know 1,000%. Even if you do a background check on somebody, you really don't know because they maybe haven't done the things yet, right? And do you remember when she had that guy on that wrote a book about being in, I think, a rehabilitation center, and then it came out that he had fabricated some of the stories?
I don't know. I remember that person. I don't remember that person.
Okay, yeah. It was a guy. I remember his book because I read it, and it was very, gritty. It had, sprinkles, actually, on the cover, and it was it wasn't called, Pretty Little Things or something like that. I don't know why that would come to my mind, but I'm sure somebody could look it up and Writing Scandal. I feel like his name was James, but I'm not sure. But, yeah, that was, a big, huge thing because he'd gone on Oprah. Could you imagine going on Oprah and, not being in alignment and in integrity? It's oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's amazing. Right. That's something. Wow. That's a lesson for us, right?
Well, you know what it is honestly, I can tell you that I have seen a couple of online entrepreneurs fall from grace last year, and that was because they were being paid for services that they didn't do. And I'm not talking about services, they just never even did it. I'm not talking about unsatisfied customers and people that were out of integrity. And it's you know what? Your name is gold, or then it's tarnished and you can't get it back.
That is amazing.
So it's super important for people to, like, you know, when they say your name, they're like, oh, yeah, she's really got the best of integrity. I think it's just so important.
Yeah, it is. It's very important. So your clients, so if someone wants to work with you, how would they reach out to you?
They can find me on Facebook or any social media if they want to play with me. I'm Jenny G. Perry everywhere you go. And then my email is jenny@jennygperry.com. And I'm also available, you know, for blogging opportunities or podcasts. I really just want to this year I definitely want to get out to larger audiences. That's one of my missions. I know a lot of us, we just kind of we just want to reach more people with our messages. So that is what I am focused on this year.
That's amazing. That's great, because I saw when I went to your website, I saw all the magazines that you've been in and places that you've gone. I just think that's great. You've been in the Oprah magazine. You've been in Huffington Post. And what are some other ones?
Well, I'm currently on Thrive Global, which is Ariana Huffington's new platform. I just have to get my feet wet in there. So that's a new one that just came out. And I'm going to just look for all different opportunities this year, kind of like just be wide open to see where the universe, you know, sends me in the direction of. Last year was very rough with one of my kids, where my focus really had to be on one of my kids, where business was not as much as my focus last year, even though I had clients. And this year it feels like so powerful, this energy of 2017. I'm so excited about it. I can't tell you.
Well, that's awesome. That's great. That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on the show today. Thank you for everything that you shared. I definitely learned something too myself. As we all do. We always learn from each other. Isn't that a wonderful thing?
Oh my goodness. Yes, you must.
Absolutely. So we'll have to have you come back on again.
For sure. And I can't wait to have you on mine.
Yeah, real soon.
Exactly. Well, I just want to send blessings out to everybody for 2017. May it be your best year ever.
Absolutely. And thank you for tuning in to The Awakening with Katina Love. Namaste.